Welcome all the audience from the online. And I'm Lilian Wang from the Department of Social Work, National Taiwan University. And I'm also the WMP Taiwan standing director working for the elderly program particularly. So we highly welcome to all of you, including the in-person participant and the online participant. Without you, we don't think our session will be go through smoothly. So your participation is number one for our success. Thank you for your coming. And secondly, I'm going to tell you our session's idea, why we want to have sessions. First of all, because this is a new age for digitalization. We wish women and girls can get better word in workplace or better education. We're moving to STEM, particularly this area, which will involve their future in terms of salary, in terms of career, in terms of their future in the society. So we wish this kind of issue can be raised in our society, in our academic, in CSW particularly. So we choose this perspective by focusing on the role of government, the role of enterprise, the role of individuals. So this is something we have to share with you before our start. And we have several speakers. One is Jessica, the other is Yao Chu Zhang. And then we will have others through our online presentation. So one is called Celeste, and she's working at Taiwan, but she cannot come here today. However, she will be online and get presentation for all of you. And then we also have Zhang Wei. She's a very famous person in our society, acting as a kind of a writer and open the kind of company, consult company for the enterprise, for the civil society. So we are looking forward to her presentation later. And anyway, Jessica will give us a first talk about her topic regarding how it's STEM situation and reality and the future plan in Taiwan. Let's welcome Jessica.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jessica. And again, I'm going to go through very quickly, taking you using 10 minutes, taking you to understand our women situation in STEM categories and what's the challenge that we are facing. So I will not repeat my small little background details again, but I will jump into the topic very quickly. Yeah. Very quickly, first of all, our Taiwan gender equality overview. So according to our gender equality index in 2022, Taiwan actually ranked 7th in worldwide, and Taiwan ranked #1 among Asian countries. And then is our gender gap index. Taiwan actually ranked 26th place out of 56 countries, and we rank second place among all Asian countries. So in this kind of sense, we are not behind. Yes. Thank you. So finally, jumping into our topic regarding to our STEM gender gap in STEM industry, in STEM categories, we have to always consider first the education. So in 2019, we have 32% of females that in STEM related graduates. However, you can see we are growing slowly. Until 2019, we have 36% of STEM-related graduates that's female. And we can see the increase slowly, but of course, the numbers are not as high as we expected. Next, please. Jumping into the job categories. We have to say, as you can, according to our Human Resources Network calculations, our female and male ratio between in information software system and R&D categories is actually 80% versus 20%, which is there's a lot of room to improve. And further, to move on to our semiconductor industry, the situation is even worse. It's 1%. There is only 1% female engineer in semiconductor industry, which is one of our largest industry in Taiwan, as you may all know, TSMC, who produce 70% of semiconductor, the company who produce 70% of semiconductor in Taiwan, and sadly we only have 1% of female representative inside of this kind of category. Next. And moving forward to our female execution and decision level, there is only 5 to 6%. We have a slight increase in R&D related and manufacturing category, and slight decrease in information software system category. But in general, we have only 5 to 6% of female represented in our decision level. So regarding moving further to the board member, the female in board, we have around 12% female representative in women board members. And you can see from here the industry with worst women representation, the semiconductor industry and computer and referral communication industry, communication and internet industries. And as I mentioned, semiconductor should be one of our best industries, but we have the worst female representation there. Okay, so then moving forward to understand the root of the problem, why we have so many women unrepresentative in this same category works. So according to a paper that is published by Springer Science and Business Media New York, they recognize 5 different aspects that may cause this situation, starting from firstly, cognitive ability level, career preference, field-specific ability belief, gender-based stereotype, and bias, and finally, female work balance and lifestyle value, and which I think most of the women here can relate. That really relates to our career choices. Among all this, due to the time limitation, I would like to focus only 2 main topics to work with, which is field-specific ability belief and gender stereotype and bias, where I can really relate because I've seen such kind of situation. For example, in regarding to field-specific ability belief, we have a cultural concept in Taiwan that is rooted in our, I wouldn't say blood, in our society, is men science and engineering, and then female liberty arts. Yeah. And so many of the girls, I don't know if, I think people nodding, so there's a similar situation all around in other countries. Girls are not encouraged to be, to cultivate STEM related interests. No teachers thank you very much. No teachers give them the opportunity to explore while they are even in elementary school, kindergarten, which is the crucial time to decide one's interest in the future. And then another topic I would like to talk about is gender-based stereotype and bias. In Taiwan, gender-based stereotype is always exist in STEM industry. It's always male first in everybody's mind. And then gender-based bias, I think, which is the problem that we should really get on to solve it, because there is a statistic that's published by New View Strategic. So there is actually 1/3 of females that have experienced gender bias in STEM-related industry, and they felt lack of promotion and opportunity. Therefore, actually 38% of the female that is currently working in STEM industry would like to leave in the following 3 years. So it's actually a heartbreaking development. Further on, we would like to identify who can be the change maker in this situation, who can make the change of STEM, the gender gap in STEM. Of course, firstly, government should be the leaders and should get involved with the policy or programs. But then we must not forget who is the most important stakeholder here is the company, is the cooperation who provide this environment, who provide this workplace. So cooperation, we have to include them. And lastly is us, NGOs or third party who cares about this topic, how should we serve as a bridge, as a consulting group to help with this issue? Sorry, I think I forgot one of the important slides moved. Okay, so as I was talking about policy, we actually have many policies that's implemented in reaction of what the United Nations had a legal act implement. So we have, in 2002, we have Gender Equality and Employment Act that's implemented. And also in 2011, we implement CEDAW Act. And then in 2012, we implemented Gender Equality Policy Guidelines. However, until this day, 2022, we still have the gap as all the data that I showed you, and the execution level is still executive level of women representation still remain low. So that is why we think women's rights in STEM still need to be improved, even if we have all those policies. Okay, and then, so as I was saying, so we have the policy, but it's not working as we expected. However, on the other hand, we have all these amazing private sectors that have been doing a lot. For example, we have observed many cooperation that is paying attention on diversity, equality, and inclusion policy in their company. So they change within their company, and then they even start the mentorship program or some events empower young women in tech. For example, like Girls in Tech and Coding Angels that is holding by Micron and Microsoft. That actually brings us to our conclusion today. We would like to see and to advocate to have the cooperation as the main key changer, and to have our policy drive the change. Firstly, so we think government should set up some program. In our humble opinion, of course, we think government should set up some program to encourage the company to change current situation within their culture. So, for example, government can add gender equality ratio as a source indicator, or set a topic to provide some incentive to cooperation to increase this, to encourage this change. And then, most importantly, to change, we have to start from the company, right? So we should have the company implement their DEI strategy, and also survey their employee happiness index, and further to have fair criteria to hire, to retain, and to promote. And last but not least, the NGO should serve as a consulting group. Should serve as a consultation group. We can provide the training for corporations to make them understand why they should implement this change, because this is not a short-term profit. It's a long-term plan, and they should know by having an inclusive and diverse environment actually can increase their productivity by 36%. That is according to McKinsey report. So later on, I would like also to have our amazing representative to talk from their perspective of government, of cooperation, and consulting group. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you. I think I missed the introduction of Jessica. Jessica is a person working very hard. Although she's young, but she's very promising in her work. She's a market development manager, although she's young, in ASUS Tech Computer Corporation in Taiwan. And in fact, she's double major. One is the English language, yeah, and the other is called
patent law.
That's why she can move to a better position in engineering company. And I'm happy she talked about the gender equality in Taiwan, and also all the policy of STEM related to the promotion of STEM in education for women and girls for their future. And she also talked about how is the future plan based on the government and operations. So thank you very much for your articulation about the policy and programs from the government and from corporation perspective. And now we are going to welcome the second speaker. Second speaker will use her video. Sorry about that, because she is not here.
Because there's a delay and she had a meeting to go.
Oh, yeah. In fact, she was online. Welcome to all of you, but now she needs to use a video to talk some topic about this issue. And before her video, let me talk about her topic. And since Celeste is a person working as a consultant, work for the company's particular EE company, or we call the kind of engineering area of the company. And she worked very hard in the issue of diversity and equality and inclusion, DEI, for the company, particularly from the company perspective. So she's going to deliver how the company can do better so that DEI could give the better environment for STEM girls and women. So let's welcome the video done by Celeste.
I would like to introduce Microsoft's diversity and inclusion programs and how we approach it internally, and what is our Women Employee Resource Group. That is a special chapter that we have internally. So for Microsoft, D&I has always been a very strong culture we have. It is living inclusion every day. At Microsoft, we strive to be a diverse company with an inclusive culture. And I say this because you can always feel the importance of trying to be inclusive in our meetings, for our products. The D&I issue has always been a topic that we talk about and we put a lot of focus on. And with this kind of effort, we actually have released an annual report called Microsoft Global Diversity and Inclusion Report. And this year, we have, from last year, the report that really showed our efforts in D&I, and in which it also includes the part for women, and I will introduce more later. For our D&I, it's really guided by intention. We are intentional about this. We talk to our managers about it. We talk among our colleagues, and we strive to be volunteers to be in the D&I groups. And we are a technology company, so while we do that, we also bring in the latest innovation, and we try to be very transparent and innovative in the way that we move forward. So firstly, we find this our accountability and transparency is the top of our report. To lead and transparency report, we really believe, that transparency fuels accountability, and accountability builds trust. So as a company that really believes in D&I culture, we try to be as transparent as we can, and that is why we have this annual report. It's available to the public. Everyone can come and read the data we have. And also we evolve our culture with our data. So we collect different data each year to share some insight or some our learnings. And we try to be to hopefully that we can learn from this data. And we also think that accountability is through meaningful action. So it's not just about looking to the data and there's no action taken. We actually have in our company a lot of different activities that we can participate to join the discussions regarding D&I. And also we have a system that that allows us to talk to our managers about our D&I issues. So we feel very safe to talk to our managers if there's anything that we feel we're concerned about. We can always bring that up into our conversations with our leaders. And influencing change, we also would give different courses or resources to our leaders and help them understand more and help our individual progress to see our impact and rewards and promotion for our executives and partners. So this is really about a culture, how we make this environment a safe place for everyone to speak up and to do more for different groups and be more inclusive. And in this report, if we focus on women's part, you can see from this slide that globally, the employee population of women has grew 20% in 2020 and has grown 81% since 2018. So there's a strong growth for women employees. This is a good sign. We really try to narrow the gender gap for technology companies' works. And we think that it is very important to Microsoft to have more women representation and to understand that women should take part in technology. And the increase, the number of women at partner and executives, it's at 102%, and director levels is 112% since 2018. So we are really trying all we can to grow our women population and hopefully to have a more sound representation. And in 2022 report, there's also a more detailed data that shows the percentage of women in the workforce. So in a broader global workforce, it's 32.7%. and there's 1.8 percentage point increase in the year-over-year growth. And 39.9% of women are based outside of North America. So in 2022 report, the data is also driven down to geographic region. And you can see here that we have North America, South America, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and Asia Pacific. And so we can drill down to this each of this region, and we can see that for each region, the women representation is also around 30, 32, etc. So it's a pretty balanced growth globally for Microsoft, and we hope we could do better and show more data this year. And as I mentioned in the very beginning, within Microsoft, we have a special group called Employee Resource Group. It's called ERG. They're basically a voluntary employee-led groups, and each of our employees are welcome to join any of the groups locally or with the global team. And we hope that with these ERGs, we are able to help employees feel valued, respected, and included, and also help organizations attract a diverse workforce. Currently, we have 9 global and company-wide ERGs at Microsoft, and I'm personally one of the committees in Women ERG this year in Taiwan. And we are doing a lot of great things. For example, we would invite our leaders to share with us their career experiences. How do they motivate themselves? How do they try to show their strength as a woman in her position, etc. And we also would host events that would help young college female students in Taiwan. So that's really exciting as well. I can share more at the later slides. And for Microsoft Women ERG objectives, usually we are, it's more about experience sharing. We try to foster conversations and dialogues between different colleagues or leadership. And we try to have storytelling, so it's more memorable for colleagues to relate. And we want to address the gender gap in policymaking and the technology industry at large. So we usually work with internally on our policy and also externally with government agencies that look into this issue. And we foster debates around digital policies and technology. So we try to participate in all type of issues and try to create a more D&I environment for our company as well as for the general workforce. And relationship building, I think it's a really good way for Microsoft employees to come from different departments and work together on an issue for women, for example. And it is really a great experience because sometimes your work connections might only focus on your job's role, but through ERGs, we are able to reach to different departments, colleagues, and we can build relationship with them and also understand different needs from different departments. And lastly, our objective is to offer a platform for future generations. So we really try to help our young women either it's internally in our office or externally, such as the young students that are currently in high school or college. In addition, we also have a lot of learning resources available at our internal website, and every one of us are allowed to pick some of the resources that they might find it helpful, and just to grow and learn. I think one of the cultures that we try to promote is to have a growth mindset. So when we want to understand more about a particular issue, there's always a resource or class that we can take to understand some of the concerns or issues that we would like to address. So this is also very helpful and very inspiring to see some of the stories. And Coding Angels. So this is the event that currently I'm involved in. So the goal is to empower, Microsoft's goal is to empower every person and every organization on this planet to achieve more. And for Microsoft Taiwan, for Women D&I, we have been holding an event called Coding Angels since 2015. And the main goal is to invite college female students from across the country to come to Microsoft and interact with a lot of Microsoft employees. And usually we would plan a series of keynote speakers to share their career experiences. And we have workshops for them to help them understand more about technology industry, coding, or some of Microsoft products like Excel. So they can learn some skills while they're attending this event. And we also have small group discussions for the students, and they can really interact directly with Microsoft employees and really create a mentor and mentee relationship so that they can understand more at a more personal level because we have a face-to-face interaction. And with all these years, students have really found this type of events very helpful. And every year, there's always a large amount of students signing up. And it is great to see all the young female students to come and communicate and talk to us and tell us what their career blocker is, and we can try to share our experience and help them. So that's something that we find very meaningful to do. And this year, the 2023 Coding Angel, we focus on the theme on diverse paths female students can take to enter technology industry. So this is something that we're looking forward to. It's taking place next week, and we hope that the students as well as the volunteers that participate will have a really good exchange and they'll have a really good time together. Just to add on to that, so we would usually invite about 120 and 150 students. And from Microsoft, we would have 40 to 50 volunteers, and for them to interact with the students. So usually it's about one volunteer that can talk to 2 or 3 students directly throughout this event. So it's a really good opportunity for students to learn more about Microsoft and about technology and what we believe in and how can they join us. What are their possible paths that they can take, etc. So yeah, this really has been a rewarding experience setting up these coding angels, and we hope that we will be able to help more students in the future. And this is my last slide. I also want to share that for Microsoft Taiwan, they're also trying to give women a very friendly environment for our maternity period. For example, they would give us a nursing room so that female colleagues can really leverage this type of space. And we would have on-site doctors that we can consult with issues regarding our maternity problems or our pregnancy issues. So that has been very helpful to me personally as well. And as a mother of two, I really think Microsoft is giving me this great space that can help me ease the stress, you know, as a new mom. So this is the culture and policies that Microsoft for Women D&I that I would like to share, and look forward to your feedback, and thank you for your attention today. Thank you.
And she is a consultant in the Microsoft, so she shared a story about how Microsoft can do the STEM or can help the women and girls in the company through the kind of D&I programs. And you can see the first thing is to build up corporate culture, which is the key to improve this kind of environment for the young girl, particularly in the stage of the moving forward. And she's talked about how evidence-based data can be very crucial. So I think we don't have much time to talk about this, but we will share with you later if you have time. Then let's move to the third speaker. Third speaker will be sitting on my left-hand side, and she is a person working in the gender equality for a long time, maybe more than 10 years since she was in Taipei City government. And now Yao, Qingyu Yao is working in the New Taipei City, and she is the person in charge of the general, Department of General, something like this.
The secretary.
Secretary. It's hard for me to see the words. And she will share with you about how the government can do something different in terms of STEM policy to improve the local young girl and women through the government support and the program in education and workplace particularly. And let's welcome Yo, and she will tell you how is her experience. So it's promising in our Taiwan society. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Wang, and hi everyone online. And I just want to tell you how admiring and how inspiring Jessica is to me. If you are, because you are online, you couldn't see how multitasking she is. And this is only her first ever session in New York and NGO CSW67. I think she will be the best spokesperson for women in tech, women in STEM. And that's not about really, I really hope we can see more sides. And my topic, I'll make it really short, because basically I agree with everything Jessica said. Yes? Yeah. I agree with everything Jessica said. And I couldn't agree with Celeste Young even more. They are telling us one thing. There's a serious problem, isn't it? Yeah. Women are not in tech. Women are not in STEM. And we try so hard for so far, right? Celeste Young told us all these wonderful programs she's inputting. But look at the data Jessica gave us. What happens? Women in tech women in science, women in STEM stays low, even lower in decision-making body. We are about 25% for the career choice for women in science, according to your data, but 5 to 6% in decision-making body. That is even lower. So my topic today is called the profit and the price. What is the profit and the price? I'm so happy. I'm happy that today, finally, we can talk about the real meaning behind the profit and the price. We were talking about DEI, as Celestia say. The profit is a company, individual company that is making. And usually a company will manage the price to earn the profits. But let's think about what is the real price. Sometimes the profit is made by a single company, but the price is paid by the society collectively. So as a city practitioner, I think if we do DEI well, which is bringing the gap closer between men and women in education, in career choice, then we don't have to pay a high price for any company to make profits. So this is my point. If I have more time, I can talk about this for the whole day, but I think we're really running out of time. So I'll just make my point really clear. I will jump all this paper to the last point, because you know, we are all here, we all understand. So the real important thing is not all these programs we're going to install. It's not all this institution. It's our mindset. Mrs. Yang at Microsoft just told us the culture needs to be changed. What she's doing is trying to change the culture in her company, right? But when she talked about she's trying to have dialogues with related parties, I have a question. There is no related parties because every party is related. You have to talk to everyone. You have to talk to everyone to change the culture. So how do we start changing the culture? Very simple. We start with changing our mindset. Let me give an example about New Taipei City. It doesn't matter if you know where New Taipei City or not. You can ask me later. All I want to tell you is to convey my message. How do you change the culture? How do we do it in the public sector? For example, 4 years ago, when there's no city in Taiwan to work on sustainability development goals of the United Nations, New Taipei City is the first city to start introducing the idea. Luckily, by my department, and my mayor was very happy to accept embracing SDG into our policy. How did we start? We did not start with additional budget. We didn't start with new institution. We didn't even start with any Excel sheet. No, we start with communicating, dialogue, trying to change the mindset of the people, having a lot of dialogues with all 29 departments to seek values alignment, what you're doing right now and what is the relevancy to what you are already doing to sustainability goals. So when that happens, it's more of a value alignment than telling them there is a new policy. So when we start doing that, we see the magic happens because every department is thinking about without new resources, but can I take a different lens to look at what am I doing? So start from that, construction departments starting to think about, maybe I can bring into art departments to the community buildings. When we build walls, when we build roads, we can introduce art into the community. And the transportation departments start thinking about, maybe we can work with education departments to build an easy walking path for students. So all these magical things happen. And do you know why that could happen? Because in my city government, we have the highest numbers of women in the decision-making bodies, 33%. Thank you. And that is because when they are actively promoting women in his cabinet. So compared to the capital city next to New Taipei, the capital city of Taiwan is Taipei City. It's only 14 to 16% of the leadership is women, and we have 32%. And why we can do this soft change, the cultural change, I think it's because we have enough women. We have enough women in the decision-making body. And why? Because DEI is embracing by New Taipei City government. So when you have that, you start seeing the change. And then regulations can start, of course, programs can start, but already things start making changes. So back to our topic about DEI, about the gap between men and women in their career choices in STEM and hands-on career choices in the future for technology, science. I'm worried in an urban planning perspective. If we only look at the city construction, infrastructure, social welfares through one single gender's lens, it will be no good, because in the future, we'll depend more and more on technology. And if there's only men in the technology field, in the science field, and all this technology may fit one gender better than the other, isn't it? And do you know our society is aging fast? And on average, women live longer than men. So we'll be living in a society with a lot of senior women, but the infrastructure may not, or the technology we depend on may not be very friendly to them. So from an urban planner's point of view, we really need to think hard about that. So let me give you one example. That's a funny one. I love that example. And I'll end my presentation. A lot of people say women can't drive. But do you know why? It's because when car companies decided to design their car in the early 20th century, they only use men as their prototype when they design. So all the car design does not fit women well. So when there is an accident, women got into fatal accidents rate is a lot more. So it's not because women cannot drive, because the cars are not made for women. So that's not our problem, that's the car's problem. So I'm happy that changed, but we need more changes, right? So no one related party, everyone is a related party. So in the future, when we're surrounded by technology, if we have more women, I really encourage more women to take Jessica as a role model, to develop your career in technology, because we need you. In the future, I hope our world can be high-tech, but can only be very warm, friendly, and human. And we need that. So we need to work on DEI all together. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. That's nice stressing about this government. How it can be very successful in terms of include DEI as the policy of the government. Thank you so much. And as I know, just let me give 1 minute talking about the Taipei City. This city mayor is very, very impressive because she worked very hard to make gender inclusive policy in the government area, particularly the decision makers who are the female, which compose more than 30%. And this is very special in Taiwan right now.
But in the Congresswoman, Jewish population is about 40%. So in Taiwan, Congresswomen are high, in terms of percentage, is pretty high. So this is something you think can think about. The DEI can be very impressive in terms of public sector or private sector. And even in the political sector, you can see the difference of Taiwan.
So thank you, Professor Wang, for mentioning my mayor. So I will bring my mayor to you right now.
我们的新北市府团队内就有10位女性级数首长，占的比例1/3，他们表现能力极为亮眼，各级是推动女性就业、创业、平权、福利及关怀，正是不遗余力。New Taipei,
New Taipei, New Taipei, New Taipei, Woman Power, Woman Power, New Taipei, Woman Power, New Taipei, Women Power, New Taipei, Woman Power,
Women Power.
Now we're going to move the fourth speaker, and our fourth speaker, the name of her is Zhang Wei. Let me see, Zhang Wei Xuan. As I told before, she is a person, little like a writer, but very influential writer, and she acted as the enterprise builder for the gender equality as well. So she plays the role of working as a consultant and very influential through the big pen can influence the society. So she will talk about how the difference can be made by NGO or GO or even the enterprise through a kind of spread of the cultural display, gender equality to our society. So let's welcome.
Yes. Great. Good evening. I'm honored to be here with you tonight. I'm Wei Xuan, the founder of Womany. This is my community. Thanks, Professor Wang, just recommend and introduce our efforts. What I do every day is to support and empower people. I'm excited that I get to share a unique experience that I had in Taiwan with you. I hope that by sharing my insights today, I can inspire some and start a conversation on DEI practice for women. 13 years ago, I was 26 and just stepped into the real world. During the very first few years of my early career, I've witnessed so many unfair situations for women and lack of inclusive culture in different work environments. Women have to face challenges from appearance anxiety to fight for a sustainable career path, from age discrimination to unconscious bias that deeply rooted in the Eastern cultural society. One of my good friends, she is a brilliant lawyer. She was nicely encouraged by her boss, take leave when she informed him that she was pregnant. He said, I remember that clearly. It's better for you to go home to take good care of you and your baby. She left the company after that conversation and was never able to come back to work after the childbirth. This kind of issue is still very common in Asia, sadly. She passed away 2 years ago to breast cancer. She was never able to come back. Women still are seen as the household responsible keepers. I want to change that. Hence, I started the company, Womany. We did a good job. We did raise more awareness on the importance of equality. Gender is an important index for political correctness now. However, I noticed that a radical systematic change is needed if a woman wants to succeed in her career path. Self-awareness is not enough. The whole system has to be changed, to be shaped, so that she can be fully supported along the way. To know is the very first step, a good step, but that's not enough. To act on it is where the changes come. So there's 3 tips. 1, goal setting. 2, strategic thinking. 3, and thorough planning are essential for successful actions. Take Taiwan, for example. The government's allocation of gender budgets is $24 billion, which has increased by 45.85% compared to the year of 2021. That sounds amazing, right? However, the gender inequality phenomenon doesn't seem to change as drastically as the budget increased. Why? Why? Because when we look closely, the money isn't really put into change to, it isn't put to change the root cause. For instance, Taiwan, like many developed countries, is facing the crisis of declining birth rate. We can see the money put into the commercials or propaganda that encourage women to have children, but there's no solution of how to come back to work as a mother after childbirth. Where's the support system? Related education and publications? What's the role of the father? The men need to be included in the process as well. I remember when I was in the committee for the Taipei city, I raised a question about if we want to encourage the birth rate, we have to talk to the men as well. And, from the very beginning, the government wants to encourage women to have children instead of a family. This is just one example to address the issue. How to allocate the resources to tackle a real issue is crucial. Transforming awareness into actions requires careful examination, theory forming, and assumption testing. This is to craft a winning strategy. It's important to take the time to understand the specific needs of your organization and community. Identify available resources and develop actionable tactics with clear timelines. By tailoring strategies into your specific context, then you can maximize the impact of your efforts. We did that at Womany through many years, much trial and errors. We gathered many successful experiences along the way. And one of them is called Code for Gender. Let me change background for you. It's about Code for Gender. As we all know, women face numerous challenges in STEM fields, such as low or no representation in the educational system, lack of encouragement in the workplace, and scarcity of female role models. These issues can lead to a lack of confidence and perseverance for young girls who aspire to enter this field. How can we provide more opportunities and support for women in STEM and create an environment that empowers them to succeed? And how can we encourage individuals of all genders to join the movement rather than fighting alone? how can we foster a sense of community and shared purpose and create an inclusive and welcoming environment that recognizes all contribution of all individuals, regardless of gender? In response to this, I founded the Code for Gender movement, which is not simply a women/girl only movement. Better yet, a place for all to participate and support. Code for Gender inspires others to join the efforts to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion in STEM and beyond. I'm also pleased to share good news with you. This year, we are going to talk about AI for DEI. To create an active solution and impactful strategy, we need to go beyond the simple awareness to action formula of just setting a goal about hiring quotas of female engineers per company, etc. Instead, our first step is to build a platform that provides access to related solutions, career consultations, and professionals' communications within the STEM community. Now, I'm inviting you to see a clip of the movement. Can someone at the forum could play the video for me? Thank you.
让我们一起 Code for Gender。Code for Gender。Code for Gender。Code for Gender。Code for Gender。
Thanks for the clip. The whole process is about strengthening the ecosystem. It's an open space. It's a playground for all. Whenever I watch the clip again, I can feel the excitement, the happiness, the magic moment of DEI. I remember that that competition, the winner of the hackathon was 2 young ladies. One of them approached me after the event in tears. She asked if she could give me a hug. I said, sure, of course. What's going on? It's tears in her eyes. She said, it is my first time in my life I can finally feel what is confidence. I was so surprised. I say, why? What happened? And she then explained, in school, everyone told her, you are good. Yes, you are good. You are good in girls' standard. So she truly believed she is good because she is a girl. She never believed she is good enough. Can you understand the feeling that she never thought she is good enough? Maybe it's common in you and in me. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm good because I'm a girl. But it's not true, right? Her true potential was never truly acknowledged until now, until that event, until that moment. She won the first prize, and now she created another NGO for promoting the tech, how to lead girls to code. It is ecosystem. I, of course, reiterate how good she was and encourage her to be a leader. And I think that is the moment I really see the power of DEI. And it is a moment I know it is possible. It is possible to create an inclusive environment for everyone. It is possible that we could provide space for everyone to showcase their potential, their talents. We can break down the barriers. We can recreate a new role models. We can break the glass ceiling. It is possible. Also, it's not merely about girls and women. The male participants came to me. They told me how eye-opening they are. For many, it was the very first time for them to understand how serious the diversity and gender issues in the world. To be frank, they don't know. They don't know how serious the issues are. There's no interest for them to pay attention to this. It is not their fault. So they realize how could they do by seeing so many gender-related open data. Like, the female unpaid labor time is 4 times the men. And there are so many male participants, so the huge gap. And they feel they have responsibility to change that as well. This broadens their perspective and make them more empathetic, and also motivate them to help the problem solving in the society. And they can contribute in more communities. They want to make a positive impact as well. By breaking down the gender barriers and foster a culture of inclusive culture, we hope to inspire everyone to be their best selves and realize their full potential. DEI is not just for women. It can serve men as well. And now I would like to share a model with you. It is a new model we create in Womaning. We call it the I model. It's about the culture and the individuals and how to facilitate different roles to be together in the whole system and how we cultivate a key ability to help individuals and companies to make everything work. It is important to remember that DEI is not a zero-sum game. A diverse and inclusive environment is, in fact, to make the non-zero-sum game work. That, in my opinion, is the best winning strategy for all in this world we are in today. Last but not least, let me share you a powerful statistic with you. In our recent survey, 96% of respondents indicate that a company's commitment to DEI is a very critical factor in their decision-making process of whether they want to enter this company or not. 96% of the respondent, which means a lot. So when I encounter the male decision makers, I use data to persuade them that DEI is not a political correctness. It's about people. It's all about people and about creating a level playing ground for all to be part of it. It's about welcoming everyone to join, to share, to inspire each other. That data also shows that companies implementing DEI into their business model can see 33% of profit increase in their business. DEI is a practical tool for growth as well. DEI is the calling of the era. DEI is my calling. Have you found yours? I believe that you are here tonight because you want in some way to contribute your talent, your work to create a better world, right? So let's commit ourselves to make impact. Let's commit ourselves to shape from awareness to actions. From awareness to actions to finding the root cause. We need to think differently. We need to act boldly. And together, only together, we can create a world where the diversity and inclusion is not a buzzword, but a lived value. Thank you for listening. I'm Wei Shen Chang, and let me show you one photo. I'm Wei Shen Chang, and I'm from Taiwan. Thank you. Thank you.
We start you, sorry, but because time is limited and we have to start here. And since all the audience are very patient to listen to you, and hopefully we can come back to the next few minutes, but even a few minutes we cannot have a vote. So can we just stop here? And before she left, anyone would like to have one question? Because we have a kind of 5 minutes left, and the time will be open to the audience and our floor. Any question will be raised? Otherwise, thank you,
Thank you for your presentation. Your speech, your presentation, let me think about one word. A pen, a person can change the world. And let everyone do our best for our society. And DEI can be very different because it raises a lot of our mindset, which allow the people, allow a company, about the government, about the society, because DEI is a tool for our society, for men and women to build a better and a gender-friendly society. Thank you so much. And now I think we have 2 minutes. If you have a question for our speakers here, please just raise your hand. And now almost the time to start. So anyone would like to add some question before we start our session? If not, then I will give you 1 minute, 1 minute to our speakers. How is that before we finish? And I think I just give you 1 minute, sorry about response to this whole session. Thank you.
I have some more thoughts and good night.
Looking forward to that.
Thank you all for joining today. I hope you find some very informative information for you or your work. And wish you a good evening. Thank you very much.
Yes, just say one sentence. Thank you for your participation. Without you, this session cannot be successful. And thank you for all the patience and although silent here, but I'm sure you have a lot of speak. Did pay attention to all the kind of different perspectives from government, from the corporations, and from individuals. And you are the best for our session. Thank you very much. Oh, you want to question? Thank you.
Say something.
Yes,
Of course.
yes. Thank you.
You're more than welcome to. Yes. I just want to say thank you so much to for presenting your Taiwanese, talent, because I think it's really important for the world to really show some respect and interest to the rest of the world's problems as well as the talent. Because I'm a little bit disappointed on the turnout tonight, but it is kind of no surprise, right? But those who cares are here, and their heart is the best connection.
Yes.
And through this modern technology, I'm so honored to meet you in this New York event, and I am so impressed by the talent and leadership of your Taiwanese young women, especially when they have mentors like you two. So thank you so much for sharing your story, and congratulations for making this far, and you have amazing young leaders. Oh, sure. So, so thanks to everybody, and I just would like to just say this. I'm from Myanmar, and I know what it's like to be an Asian country advocating our voice, but not really be heard. So I hope together we can all hear the voices that we raise, and together in solidarity, we will create a better world for world peace and a global family. Thank you.
Oh, lovely. Thank you for so much support to us, because technical problem, and it's hard for us to resolve it. And thank you for your patience. Say, there's no way we can do something without your support. And thank you so much.